Firebrand Studios 801 presents self-awareness, healing, coping, breakthrough, taking back your God-given power. Slayer's Redemption Chronicles personified from bondage to breakthrough. Hosted by Prolific Tay. Where we come to heal or die trying.
Hey everybody, welcome to Slayer's Redemption Podcast for episode 2, which I have titled Forgiveness Letter. Join me and my girl, Tiffany Michelle. It's me, your co-host. It's me, your host, Prolific Tay. Join me and my co-host, Tiffany Michelle.
Hello.
So we are here today to really just discuss. I titled it Forgiveness Letter because when I originally thought about the episode, I thought about writing a forgiveness letter to myself and to my children and to a few other people that are close to me. But today I'm going to focus on just what forgiveness means to me and how it applies to me moving forward in my healing journey. So welcome, everybody. Please like, share, subscribe, like, and share my YouTube page. I'm still working out the kinks to get myself streaming on my Facebook page and maybe Instagram. I don't know. But I just want to start off by saying that what forgiveness means to me. We all know that forgiveness is the initial act of releasing feelings of resentment or vengeance towards someone who has harmed you, regardless of whether they deserve your forgiveness. It involves a voluntary transformation of your feelings, attitudes, and behavior. It's sometimes considered an important process in psychotherapy or counseling. Forgiveness can help repair damaged relationships and etc. Now, that runs deep. That goes to show you how deep forgiveness can be rooted into your trauma and how it can affect your healing journey. When they say you can process hurt through psychotherapy and counseling. So that's really deep. That goes to show you how important it is to forgive as you learn to walk through your journey of healing. It's just very, it was very important to me to forgive myself. And it's just certain things in my life that I felt like I let distract me from just reaching certain goals, like being into broadcasting is one. So I had to forgive me for not being consistent with the gifts that God has given me. Not being consistent with being strong at times, you know? So I'm here just to highlight how forgiveness is very imperative on your journey to healing, you know?
Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off on that, especially forgiving yourself, because I feel like when you talk about forgiveness, you're really talking about what comes with guilt and shame.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you are stuck in this cycle of guilt and shame, and you can't forgive yourself, you move in that energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so everything you do is stemming from that, and no good is going to come from that. It's going to keep you stuck in that cycle. You really can't move on until you forgive yourself, and really begin to give yourself grace for not always getting things right, because that's not realistic.
It's not realistic to not give yourself grace.
Yeah.
That's the starting process of forgiving yourself. Because if you don't give yourself grace and you keep living in regret and shame, you will live a long life of resentfulness. You won't forgive. And if you can't forgive yourself, how can you forgive people who've oppressed you, who've betrayed you, who've done you wrong? And all the times that doesn't mean reopening the door to certain relationships and certain connections. Most of the time, you have to forgive people for yourself. You have to forgive them for yourself in order for you to even just see the picture clear. To see the picture clear.
heavy on the you don't got to keep the door open, because I'm a firm believer in I can forgive you and bless and release you with love, and you
Yeah.
can go about your business, and we no
Yeah.
longer have to interact. Um,
Absolutely.
Me forgiving you does not mean that you again get access to me in any way, shape, or form. It means that I am giving myself what I need to move forward with what I got to do.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, just to say furthermore into that, it it resonated me to name this episode Forgiveness Letter, because as I get deeper into more episodes of Slash Redemption podcast, as I get more into it, because I'm not stopping. So as I get more into it, I learned that in this that I have to take accountability to step to this platform. That I have to take accountability, that I have to understand and love who I am, love the vision that God puts on my soul to be able to produce it to the world. Um, just a lot. Oh my gosh. For one, I I deem my emotions as a blessing and a curse, and I'm going to tell you guys why. For a long time, I walked through life with my emotions on my shoulder, on my sleeve, as you know, as the term is stated. And I've learned that emotions are not reliable. They're not reliable because you can make a instant decision based off of irrational emotions.
So I'm gonna push back there, because I'm gonna say the emotions are valid. We just don't take the time to process through them, to dig deeper. What we act off of is that surface emotion, and so you that surface emotion may be anger. Okay, I'm angry, and so I'm reacting. But when you dig deeper, you realize, okay, I'm angry because I'm frustrated. Why am I frustrated? I'm
Mm-hmm.
frustrated because of X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
We don't get to that. A lot of us don't get to that part where we process through the emotion. And so it's not the emotion that's the problem, it's the fact that we don't sit with it to dig deeper to figure out, okay, what's the need? Because
Mm-hmm.
all that emotion is doing is calling out a need, an unmet need. So
Uh-uh.
what's not being met?
Right. And I feel what's not with it with you not addressing the need. I feel like in moving forward in any other interpersonal relationships, it can bleed over into that. You
Mm-hmm.
can very much project past hurts, trauma, and you can project the way you feel about yourself onto other people.
Yeah.
So that was a big thing for me to forgive me, so that I wouldn't see the world as hurt all the time, as I wouldn't interact and have conversations with my girls or even my daughters and my son for that much. And I don't want to let what my traumas and my hurts to give them valid, just I mean not even necessarily opinion, because everybody has an opinion when it comes to somebody else's life, but to give you somebody close to you something valid that they can take from you and they can carry on in their journey. I had to start with me. I had to stop seeing everybody's scenario as my own and everybody's outcome as my own, because it's not the same,
Right.
you know? So I'm just reading some comments. Y'all work with me. Shamika, let me bring it up. Forgive in order to be forgiven. You are absolutely correct. When you say you are forgiven, got yourself, not fit the individuals that have wronged you. Absolutely. 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 And here we have another one. Emotions are not reliable. They're not. And I had to have my mentor to actually tell me that, maybe like, I want to say maybe almost 10 years ago at this point. And it really started resonating to me like 2 years ago, like what she actually meant by emotions are not reliable. Because for me, I'm like, my emotion is part of who I am. Like, I'm passionate. Like, it's one of my greatest gifts to to have emotion and to feel, you know. But in every situation, in every case scenario, you don't have to have emotions. You don't have to have emotions. Some things you can simply just let roll off your back, or you
Yeah.
can process it and let it go.
Yeah, everything don't require your energy. And I'm going to speak from my perspective, because a lack of emotion has always been my issue. Uh,
Mm,
I have always been told that I'm way too withdrawn, I'm way too tactical. And for a lot of folks, that can be
That Virgo. That's what they say.
right. Yeah,
What
well,
they say.
it gets shit done. I'm sorry.
It's okay, baby. Keep going. It's okay.
I love you. I love you. I was really doing good. Okay. But so when I went into therapy, and worked with my therapist, and we talked through it, and she helped me to realize that was really just a defense mechanism for me not to have to process through my emotions when it just erupted in a different way anyway. Like all of that stuffing and lack of emotion was really just me stuffing shit and pushing it to the side.
Yeah.
It erupted in a big way. And so literally the last 5-6 years of therapy has been about teaching me how to regulate my emotions. That feeling them is okay. They're there.
Yeah.
It happened. But to your point earlier, it's not the be all end all. And I feel like that's that's the unreliable part. You can't stay there. You got to process through, and
you have to process it and move forward.
Yep. You got to learn how to feel your shit and feel your stuff, and then be like, okay, this is a wave. We're gonna ride this wave. We're gonna push through. I'm gonna stop before I cuss again.
It's okay, boo. You know what? We working on it here. We're working on. We're getting a feel of how our audience wants to go. So it's okay if some curse words may slip out. It's all right, because that's what happened when you get passionate at times.
Yeah.
When you're getting your point across, and so. See, I want to see forgiveness for me is tied into a few more episodes. So sometimes I don't want to say, like, I was born into a situation where I faced rejection at an early age as a little girl. And once I got older and I carried the weight of that to make it to be made to feel like I had to fix a situation that I didn't break.
Right.
And I carried that for years. I carried that for years. And so it plays into a part of me chasing rejection, which is episode 6. It comes down the line. You know what I mean? So, and that is where I came to with the forgiveness letter, because I can't fix something that I didn't break. I can't fix what I didn't break. I cannot help the circumstances that the adults did around me to how I was brought into this world. I can't fear my success. I can't feel inadequate, because a lot of people that I was around growing up, I thought different. I've always wanted different. So I had to forgive me for not trusting that. Because at times, like, walking this journey is lonely. It's lonely. I had to forgive myself for not tapping into that. I have to forgive myself for not having this mindset 15 freaking years ago.
Oh, and can we talk about the love and the joy you give to little you?
So little Tayon.
Yeah, who was invalidated.
You talking about 7-year-old Tayon, 8-year-old Tayon, 12-year-old Tayon? My God, today I love her.
Right.
I love her. And I used to think back, like, and see, I live at times, see me growing in my healing journey. I used to live in a delusion of what my life should look like, or what it would have been if I would have stayed connected to certain friends, and my mom wouldn't have moved where she moved, and things like that. You know what I'm saying? I released myself. I used to have like certain dreams that would be repetitive dreams. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't understand that was like connected to trauma that was anchored in my soul, like what I wanted to be or what I should have been. It used to be even times in my life where I would wish I was somebody else. Because I feel like I've had to always work extra hard to be the smart one, the funny one, the real one, the cool, the mild-tempered one. You know, where you have the it girls who don't have to do shit. And yes, I curse. They don't have to do shit, but exist. They don't have to have a conversation. They don't have to have a goal orient. They don't have to have goals. They just is that. Hey E, hey girl. Thanks for joining us. Um, so yeah, so this all of me doing this is a part of my full package of forgiveness to myself. Just even coming and stepping to the platform and learning it day by day. Um, life is life, and as we all saying now, life be life, but God be Godding at the same time. The universe be manifesting at the same time. Um, so for me, forgiveness is a main vessel to where I am, and forgiveness letter. I do plan on in the future recording myself reading my forgiveness letter, and I will share that with you guys later on in another episode. I haven't figured out which one yet, but I'm coming with it. So I'm just here.
I want to touch back on something that you brought up when we initially started, and it's the idea of change behavior.
Mhm.
Um, because I think so often we get stuck in just saying the words, um, and even still, like giving grace for the fact that we all stumble after the fact.
Mhm.
A lot of folks, you say the words, but you don't change how you treat yourself. Um,
Mm.
you don't change
Mm.
things you say, the things you say to yourself. You don't change the way you talk to yourself. That was one thing I had to really work on, was like to change the mental tape.
Mm.
Um, and you really are creating a completely different pathway in the brain for how you make yourself feel.
Mhm.
Because real talk, like the way you talk to yourself, uh,
Mhm.
is going to dictate how you allow other people to talk to you.
Yeah.
So as you forgive yourself, make sure that you're changing how you talk to yourself. Make sure you're changing the way that you treat yourself. Small things. It doesn't have to be these big grand gestures. I'm a firm believer in celebrating the small victories. I will celebrate anything and everything if you
I
love
do
me.
now. I do now. I do now.
I
I do now.
accomplished the smallest task, and it was like,
Yeah.
what will I do for myself?
What would I do without me? What
I
would I do without me? Like, and I want to piggyback off what you said in being gentle to yourself and the way that you think and give yourself grace. Because I know for me, I can have a beautiful thought and simultaneously a negative intrusive thought will come in and cloud it out. I thought I was the only one that dealt with that.
no,
Like in the
no,
mind, like intrusive thoughts is just coming to, like, I'm talking about some of the most horrific things can just come across. I could be thinking about buying land, where I want to decide to come with my first studio for my podcast, and what I want to do for my children in the future. And baby, a thought will come through
it'd be immediate.
immediately. So
Immediate.
then you immediately have to shadow that out with a positive affirmation and a positive thought, which goes into another episode called Mental Marathon. Like a healing journey is a mental marathon. It
At,
never stops.
at all. I was just gonna go into that.
It
Like
never stops.
I there are days when I'm like, I've been in therapy consistently for 6 years.
Mhm.
And every month it feels like, okay, we're peeling another layer back. Like how deep, how big is the onion? What are we doing? Because when do I get, like, you even got to take a break from that. It is a lot. It is definitely a marathon.
It's a marathon. Like, to process it, to not let yourself live in
There's a
the
question I want to get to after you finish your thought. I'm sorry.
is to not let yourself live in it. Like the way you have to process it and literally let it go. And it's so hard to let it go, especially, see, I had a really bad problem with protecting my heart
Mm.
since I opened my heart and my feelings to any and everybody. I would consider myself being like friendly Bob. And I took everybody energy and I sucked it in like a sponge. You know what I'm saying? And I use it as a reflection of myself. And so I had to learn to not always go in emotions first and open hearted. You know? We have a question from Shamika. Let's pull it up. How do you know if you have truly forgave yourself or if you just got over what you've been through? Now, but hold on. Hold on. You want to know how you know if you completely forgiven yourself and got over it? Because you would be able, once you can identify the triggers, because you can think that you're over something, you've let it go. 3, 4, 5 years have passed, and one incident can come, and it will pull up everything that happened, like all the work you've done went out the door. And you send back to yourself feeling these emotions that you thought that you plucked up, you got the root of it out, and that you seemingly thought that you was over, but then you realize there's more work to be done. Because in that instance, it's like you just buried it. You feel like yeah, I got over it because I let it go. It's like 2 peas in a bucket. Fuck it, I got over it. No, Dust, you can't see me. I'm strong, but something can happen with a different person. It could be a different relationship. It could be a different encounter. It could be somebody you work with. It can be somebody of clergy. It can be a neighbor. It can be a small thing. And if it flares up those emotions, then you know you have more footwork to do. It's more shadow work to do. That's my take on it.
I agree. I'm going to add to that and then give a very personal example. So one, your body's going to tell you. When those triggers happen, your body's going to let you know exactly what you're feeling. That has also been something I've had to learn to listen to. And oftentimes, a lot of times we stop listening to our body. We see our body as an unreliable narrator. But as you move through your journey and you get more in tune with what your body is telling you, you'll know when those feelings come up. So an example is, I'm gonna try to get through this.
Okay, I want to piggyback. I want to say something about.
Oh no, what happened? All right. You muted. You muted. You muted. Technical difficulties, everybody. One moment. Okay. Go out, come back in. Yeah, you go out, come back in. I'm gonna walk through this example real quick. If we don't get disconnected, I don't think we should. So 10 years ago, my mom passed away from breast cancer. Shortly before she was diagnosed, we gonna hold on.